People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. People sleep with multiple dudes shouldn't throw wine bottles.
Coming up on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show.
Meredith, if you're not gonna listen to me, get out of my house!
I stood behind Mary in times where I questioned if I even should be supporting her.
I don't think you look for trouble.
You don't think?
You brought a bottle of wine.
It's like me showing up at your bat mitzvah
inappropriate.
with a giant
big
ham
pig.
and some bacon
pig.
in a paper towel and saying mazel.
I've never seen you act the way you acted this weekend.
You got a come to Todd moment.
When's the last time that Seth has reprimanded you?
What about me? I just lost it.
So sorry you feel that way, sweetheart.
The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show starts now.
Let's jump to breakfast at Mary's.
What a f***ing fever dream that was.
Meet Mary Golightly,
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna break my neck. My shoes are too big.
a lady of exquisite taste who appreciates the finer things in life. A lady who loves to entertain, perfecting every detail for her guests.
Let's rate the outfits.
Okay,
Let's rate your
who?
good. Start with Lisa.
She wore my outfit that I wore on Andy's, which was a no-no. And then she goes, the difference is, Mary, you got yours off the rack and I got mine off the runway. The difference is I wore it before you did. Why are you wearing it again? Bronwyn nailed it.
Yeah, that was cute.
I thought she looked good, yeah. Meredith looked like Flintstone.
The bangs that will spur 1,000 memes.
I don't understand how everyone wasn't wearing Audrey Hepburn bangs.
Well, because I had pride and dignity in my personal appearance.
Heather? Okay.
Boo.
And then the person that was an hour late.
And boo-er. Like boo, boo, and boo.
The best comes last.
I don't know
It's
about
lovely.
that, but thank you.
I mean, you know when you invite a friend to the group and then you start regretting inviting a friend to the group? This was my moment. At Lisa's Bezos party, she came up to me and said, I want to talk to you about your friend. She steals bread in her purse.
I found myself hiding rolls in my purse to take it home.
No, I would never do that.
She called, you know, our outfits a costume.
Love your costume.
My costume.
Ooh.
And like, she just put me immediately on the defense because Brittany was my friend. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah, but you're not responsible for her actions.
Yeah,
She's
but I don't know
grown-up.
that. I have no personal boundaries.
She was mad about her being late because Mary's late all the time.
Yeah, well, I know, but I mean, it just was a sign of disrespect, regardless.
I felt like it was impolite, but I couldn't help it. I had a big development fire to put out.
I'm like, why do I have to look at her? And I guess she's like, Mary, I want to let you know that I want to invite you over to my house for tea. And I said, no, that's not going to ever happen. And I only invited her because, you know, I wanted her to know I'm not poor.
But I was there. I grew up poor.
I wasn't poor, I didn't say that.
Did you see her eyeballing the rolls at your table?
I didn't look, but like if there was some coming up missing, I would have known where they were. I don't love a costume themed party. I just feel like with these women, they need to be assigned to wear a certain way because you want them to, you know, get it right. And they didn't. Like I couldn't even give the presents out because they didn't bring it. I was pretty excited to like spoil them. Like I got really cool gifts. I had Tiffany's, they did you guys' fragrance. They put your names on the bottle.
Wow.
Real jewelry store, Tiffany. So I still have them, but maybe I'll give you yours one day, but no
Just
one else.
give me mine, forget the rest
I
of
will, you know?
Maybe when.
Just like me and Angie had the good wine.
She had an $8,000 and a $20,000 bottle of wine.
And I said, just give it to Angie and I.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody though.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed. Brittany comes in so hot, so inappropriately dressed, so f***ing late, and just wants to dump a problem with everyone at the table.
Mary is the only one that invited me to anything this week, and you were at my house. Like, right before the trip, I invited you to a really special, like, family night at my house.
I was honored.
Which was amazing, even though you brought a bottle of wine. I would never show up at a Greek Orthodox event doing something completely against the religion and kind of flagrantly just throw it out there. And she walked in like all proud with a bottle of wine. I thought that was kind of a little tasteless.
Like the 2 times I've been around Brittany, she's drinking. She loves her wine.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I've never been to her house. I brought her a gift bag of hair products from the salon and a bottle of wine.
How much was the bottle of wine? Was it a lot?
It was like a $100 bottle of wine. I don't know her. I'm not going to give her
Was
an
it Greek?
$8,000 bottle. No, but it had a horse on it, so it was pretty.
Was it a Merlot?
It was a Merlot.
Cool.
I've never been involved with the church. I have no idea. Is that inappropriate or is
Yes.
it appropriate? Okay.
It's like me showing
So
up at
it
your
is
bat mitzvah
inappropriate.
with a giant
big
ham
pig?
and some
pig?
bacon in a paper towel and
Okay.
say
So it's
mazel.
inappropriate. Gotcha.
But the truth is, like, how would Angie know that wine was inappropriate for Brittany's version of Mormonism? Because Brittany does drink. And so to suddenly take an opportunity publicly
to shame Angie and say that Angie was inappropriate when all Angie did was like respond in kind to the version of Britney that she's presented to our friend group, I think was totally out of line.
I mean, there's so many different things we could pick apart here, but the whine alone is not only hypocritical,
It's laughable.
but it is laughable, but at the same time, I understand the culture that she's living in Utah County.
Okay.
You know, there's a joke that says, it's why do you bring 2 Mormons fishing? Because if you bring one, they'll drink up your beer.
I've heard it,
So Britney, it's just fascinating because she is literally drinking wine with us constantly. So for Angie to take over a housewarming gift that's wine makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I also understand the lens through which Britney's living her life.
I understand she's sensitive because she's hiding that from people.
She still goes
very
to
much
church.
is hiding it from people, yes.
But you
my
can't
thought
go
when
on
I heard that was
on
like,
TV and drink alcohol.
No. I mean, there's an etiquette. If you grow up in Utah, you would never go to a family home evening and bring liquor.
Right.
Like, even if you drink it, like I own it, I would never bring that to another, even though if I knew they drank it, I wouldn't bring it to like a religious event.
Angie bringing her a bottle of wine was not her co-signing that she drinks wine. She could have just said, oh, thank you so much, and put it to the side and kept it moving. The more she talks about it, the more she draws attention to the fact that she is drinking and not telling people and is a huge hypocrite.
The Mormon code is that we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't have coffee, we don't have sex. But there is a level of hypocrisy there that is rampant in Utah because, you know, we're drinking in the back rooms, like in our secret. That's why the house you rented had a secret bar. Because when the friends and neighbors come over, you just have a library. But when then they leave, you flip the door and you have a speakeasy. It's just this double standard, and a lot of people would say hypocrisy. And I think that Britney totally exemplified that by criticizing Angie for not reading in between the lines. Why is it Angie's responsibility to keep up the facade that Britney's projecting to her community?
I did not like that you were called slutty, that you're doing 10 guys.
You're doing 3 guys and you drink and you're claiming to be some total Mormon?
Did she say that at that point?
You're doing 3 guys.
I'm not sure if she said 3 or 10.
I heard 10.
You're doing
3 guys.
And she was like, she was beside herself. It was like a deer in headlights.
You kind of laughed, and I'm like, I would flip the table if somebody said that to me.
You know what? That was almost like a boiling frog for me because I was like, I was so
Wait, what's
not
a boiling
wanting.
frog?
No, meaning like you put it in a cold water and you turn up the heat and it like boils to a point where the frog's either going to jump out or boil.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Really? At that point, I didn't want to acknowledge her because she was picking at a scab that I didn't want
She
picked
looks
at.
for who she perceives as weak in the group as a way of showing her dominance. And I think she did it to you. I thought it was gross.
It is
that
gross.
she pointed that out, and it's not the same thing.
Brought a bottle of wine.
You just took it up 100 notches.
I mean, it's spicy, but it's a fair question.
One day you're talking about Jared, then you're making out with some guy at my house, then you were telling me about a Tinder date you were going on.
I'm like getting closer to Aaron. I'm also dating this guy named Hal, who's also an incredible guy. He's amazing too.
Wow. And how you put men before your family and your children.
Goodness.
So it's like, who are you? Are you like the goody two-shoes Molly Mormon? Or are you Britney that's doing 3 guys and drinking wine and sucking down a cocktail right now, right before my eyes, but you're offended that I brought you wine? So it's really confusing. And so I don't know who she is. I don't know how to treat her. I don't know if she's one person in front of some people and another in front of others.
Well, you actually do know that.
I do know.
She's displayed it.
So I treated her as who she showed me she was, and then she was offended. And she tried to embarrass me in front of everyone.
This is an issue that Britney and I have multiple times throughout the season, is that Britney tells us something. Jared's a bad boyfriend. I'm dating multiple guys.
When you have 10,000 people, you have to get efficient. I don't have a lot of time. And I kept track of them on a spreadsheet.
And then when we paired it back to her, she's really offended by how that sounds. And I want to be really clear, I haven't said anything to Britney that she didn't already say about herself.
Well, again, it goes back to the culture that she is choosing to live in. She goes to church, she's active Mormon, but she's not following any of the rules of Word of Wisdom, which is fine. You can do both, but don't hold us accountable for that. But typically with men, that's behind closed doors, no one sees.
Dating in the Mormon faith
is kissing.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
like
even
going
do
out
that.
to like dinner and like maybe even kissing. Like that's
Maybe.
it. It's not having
Maybe
sex.
kissing.
And so I thought that was rude. Like if you know someone's culturally and religious
Yes,
Mormon,
exactly.
you don't talk about their sex
You
life.
do
like
not.
where she lives, she's in like Mormon
If you go
Mecca.
to church every week, it's assumed that you are adhering to these certain standards. And having a sexual relationship with anyone is so beyond unacceptable. And Angie just picked at that scab.
Don't start it if you don't want it. If she hadn't come for Angie, Angie wouldn't have said anything about the multiple dudes. People in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks. People sleep with multiple dudes shouldn't throw wine bottles. So if she hates it or she doesn't like it or it makes her feel like she's realizing that's not in line with who she wants to be, she should fix it, not be mad we repeated it. Also, Angie, don't slut shame people. Let her sleep with who she wants to sleep with.
Let the girl live her best
If three people wanted to sleep with me, I might be hard-pressed to say no. Nobody wants to sleep with me. But
Right?
I don't know what that feels like to have multiple offers. Good for Britney.